Hello, and welcome to the Training on the Grants Management System, also called Community Force, that will be used by the Cape and Islands United Way beginning in September of 2017. My name is Beth Bowman, and I'm the Director of Community Impact here at the Cape and Islands United Way. I will be walking through the system today in the hopes that it will become easy to use to submit your grant applications. The purpose of today's training is to guide users through the system, to act as a resource both for new and existing users. This presentation in its entirety will be posted on the Cape and Islands United Way website on the grants page for future reference. This training will cover everything from getting started, what you do when you first log on to the system, how you see what grants are available, through the process step-by-step of submitting a grant, including starting your application, understanding what your dashboard is and what it can show you, how you directly enter information, how you finalize your grant, as well as how you print your grant, add a collaborator or someone whom you'd like to have review parts of your grant application, as well as go through final steps in submitting a successful grant. We'll also cover what notifications will occur through the system about the status of your grant. And finally, we'll briefly touch on resources and how you get additional information or technical assistance should you need it throughout the grant application process. Okay, let's get started. The first thing we're going to cover is how you set up your account. The first time you click on the link and log into the Community Force website, you'll be asked to create an account or log in to an account you already have. When you create an account for the first time, you'll follow the steps as indicated after you click on the Create New Account button, which is located in the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Please remember the password, as you will use your email as your username and your password every time you log in and access the system. So, after you've logged in and you're accessing the system, you'll land on this page, which is really the starting point for the online grant portal. Here you'll have two options. The first option will be to click on the far right red circle with a blue box that indicates View All Grants. This is what you'll hit or click on when you're interested in seeing what grants are available through the Cape and Islands United Way. If this is not the first time you're logging in and you've already started but not finished a grant, you'll click on the tab called My Applications on the left-hand side in the red circle there. This will take you back to where you left off on a grant you've already started. Okay, so from the prior slide, you've clicked on View All Grants, which has led you to the page that displays any available grants for the Cape and Islands United Way. Right now, as you see on the screenshot, the only available grant opportunity is the letter of intent for the 2018-2019 grant cycle. You can do two things from this page. If you'd like to read more about the letter of intent or its process, you can click on the View More hyperlink in the bottom left-hand corner. The red arrow is indicating where it is. The other thing you can do is go directly to start a new application if this is your first time, or you can continue with an application that you've already started. The red circle on the right-hand side indicates where both of those blue buttons are. The top one is Continue with an application you've already started. Clicking here will bring you back to where you left off, your dashboard. Or to start a new application will send you to begin that process. Here's a quick tip before we move on. If you're interested in finding where the deadlines are, they will always be in the upper right-hand corner of the grants page. As you'll see with the red arrow and the red circle, this letter of intent deadline, always in Eastern Standard Time, is October 20th, 2017 by 11:59 p.m. The deadlines also appear elsewhere within the grant management system, with the intent of making sure that it's readily accessible information to all users. Okay, so let's say it's your first time in and you've clicked the button we saw in one of the prior slides called Start a New Application. Here, you're brought to a page that has the same information as in previous screens, but has additional information as well. Underneath the bold Remember word, you'll see some tips for a successful application. In the red circle on the right-hand side is a blue button that says Apply. You'll click here and it will lead you to your dashboard, which will allow you to directly enter information for your grant application. Okay, so you've clicked the Start application, you've gotten to more information about the letter of intent, you've clicked on the blue Apply button in the prior screen, and this is the first dialog box that you'll see. This says Start a New Application. It asks you to write a brief description that you will use to remember which grant this information is associated with. Once you write that description, you'll then click the Apply button, which will move you on in the system. Remember, this is a required dialog box, meaning that you must enter something in order to continue to access the information. Okay, so you've entered a title or a description of the project for which you're submitting the application, and you've clicked Apply. Now you land on your dashboard page. It says Welcome to your dashboard at the top. There are a number of things that you can do from your dashboard, which I'll review here. The first and probably most important thing on your dashboard are the two icons indicated by the first two red arrows that show the sections of the grant application that need to be complete. The first arrow is indicating an envelope with the word cover letter underneath it. Underneath cover letter is a bar that's marked 0%. As you complete parts of the section, the bar will gradually turn green and indicate by percentage how much of that section you have completed. Again, the deadline for the full grant application is listed underneath. The second red arrow indicates the second section of the application process, noted as the narrative. Again, it has the same completion bar underneath the word narrative and also includes the deadline for the overall process. The next thing that you can do on your dashboard page, as indicated by the third arrow, is you'll find 4 different buttons that you can click at the bottom of the screen. Application information and guidelines, assistance, requirements of a United Way funded partner, and frequently asked questions. Our attempt in these buttons is to anticipate any questions you might have when navigating through the system and submitting an application. Please be sure to check these out before you enter a request for technical assistance. The final thing that you can do is located in the upper right-hand corner of the screen and indicated by the red arrow, the fourth red arrow, that you can preview your application. At any point in the process, you can take a look at what your printed application would look like and print your application. The other 2 buttons next to it we will go into more detail in the coming up slides. Okay, it's time for another quick tip. When navigating within the Community Force or the online system, you'll want to use either the tabs within the system, indicated by the long red arrow on the first screenshot, or you'll want to use what's in the red circle In the second screenshot, which is a hyperlink, you'll see it says My Applications. You will not want to use the typical back arrows that you might use when navigating between web pages. Those arrows are located in the upper left-hand corner of the screen with a box that says Don't Use. If you do choose to use that, you risk losing some information or the system not working properly. You may also get an error message or it just won't work. If you want to use the tab like indicated in the long red arrow, you'll just simply click on that to move between, let's say, your search screen and your application page. If you want to go back also to My Applications, you could also, from a different screen, like your dashboard, you could also click on the blue My Applications circled, which is also a hyperlink. Okay, so let's continue. Let's say that you've clicked the cover letter icon and you've landed on this page. As you'll see, on the top of the page, there's a couple sentences about what the cover letter requires. This is just a quick reminder of the information that you'll be inputting into the cover letter. Moving further down the page, you'll see in red, Save your work as you go. This is a reminder that will pop up periodically on pages like this, just to remind you that while there is autosave, and the autosave timer is located on the blue bar on the far right-hand side, you'll see on this page it says autosave in 7 minutes and 34 seconds. It's still a good idea to save your work as you go, making sure that you don't lose any work that you weren't anticipating. Moving further down the page, you'll see with the first red arrow that there's a notation about a red asterisk. The red asterisk means that the question or the information in the question is required. You must answer all of the required questions in order to finalize your document and successfully submit them. The second arrow is indicating that there is a blue icon that you may see next to several of the questions or text boxes. This means that there's additional information related to the question or the text box closest to the blue icon. What you'll do is hover your mouse over the blue icon to see the information. And once again, remember there's a 300-word limit for each question, each text box, so be clear and be concise. These are two screenshots of what the cover letter information and what the narrative portions of the letter of intent look like. This is a continuation of the screen you just saw previously. As you'll see, there is the remember information, those 3 tips, and then as you scroll down, you'll see the cover letter. The cover letter is basically asking you for general information both about your grant request, program information, such as the program name and the program cost, and basic information about the organization. In the red circle, you'll see this is the first information that you'll be asked to submit. Here, if you can see it, is a small blue icon referred to earlier. If this was a live screenshot and I was to hover over it, it would give me additional information related to the question total requested from the United Way. In this example, I'm not sure you can see the number, but it says that the request from this particular agency is for $15,000. The information in the blue bubble reminds all applicants that the maximum they can request is $25,000. Moving over to the second screenshot, this is what you will see when you click on the narrative icon and scroll down. These are the text boxes where there is 300-word count. Again, you'll see the blue button, which gives you a little bit more information about what should be contained in the text box next to the agency description. Let's say you've completed some of your grant application or your letter of intent. You've come back to complete it, so you've navigated through the system to find the current applications. You've gone back to your dashboard and you see that your cover letter is 95% complete and your narrative is 100% complete. If you're unsure what question you missed, you can either go back directly into the cover letter, or you could preview the application as one document and see exactly what you've missed. Remember, you can't move on to the final review and submission process until both of the icons read at 100%. So, let's say that you were interested in seeing how much exactly of the application process you have completed in the two sections together. By clicking on the Preview Application button, you'll see the second screenshot. If you want to print that, the red arrow indicates where the print icon is. This is your opportunity again to preview what you've entered into both the cover letter section and the narrative section. Let's say you previewed your application and you've decided the portion that's not complete in the cover letter requires additional information that you don't have. You would then click on the Add Collaborator button you'll see indicated in the red circle toward the center of your screen, and that gives you the opportunity to invite others to add information or edit information you've already entered. When you click on the Add the Collaborator button, the second screenshot is what you will see. It will allow you to add a collaborator in the red circle by entering their name, first and last, and their email. That individual will then get an email from Community Force that said they've been indicated as a collaborator on the particular grant, list its name, and ask them to click on the link to contribute to it. Okay, so you're in the final stages of your grant application process and ready to submit your grant application. You'll follow the following 3 steps in order to successfully submit your grant. First, you'll look at the screenshot associated with your dashboard. Again, it has the important instructions, and it has where you'll find the cover letter and narrative icons. You can see by the green bar underneath the cover letter and the narrative icons that both documents are complete. You'll also know that because the 100% indicates that all sections, all questions of both documents have been completed. Perhaps the collaborator that you added previously has helped you finish the cover letter, and now you're at 100%. So, now you've decided that you would like to click the Final Review and Submit button that is in red and indicated by step 1. Once you click that, you'll get a dialog box that just asks you to confirm that you're ready for your final submission of your letter of intent. You have 2 options in this dialog box. On the left-hand side in the red circle is basically saying, yes, I'd like to continue with the final review, and I'm satisfied that things are as I want them to be. The other option on the right-hand side in the blue box is a cancel button. This gives you the opportunity to, if you have a second thought or you remember something that you forgot to enter, you can back out of the final review and submit process and finalize whatever needs to be completed. In this scenario, let's say you're going to continue with the review. You click on the left button, the left blue button that says Continue with Review associated with Step 2. Once you do that, you'll come to what's labeled as Step 3. Essentially, this is the same document that you would have seen in the preview application in previous screens. What is different here is that there is a notation across the top, circled in red, that says please check the checkbox to confirm that you've reviewed your letter of intent. Again, a final stage just reminding you that after you have clicked the Submit button, you can't make changes to your application. If you are satisfied with that you've entered and completed all of the sections with the information that you would like, you will hit Submit. That's your third step and the final opportunity to submit. So, you've submitted it, you're satisfied that things look the way they are, and you get a final submit box, dialog box, which basically says, as is circled in red, you've successfully completed your application. My name and phone number and email are listed as contact information if you have any questions after you've submitted your application. You actually may call me or email me at any time during the grant process if you have any issues, any difficulty with the system, or need some clarification in any part of the grant process. Once you click OK from the Application Submit button, you will return to your dashboard. You may want to log out because essentially you're done with that process in the application, and as you log out, you'll return to the United Way webpage. For all intents and purposes, you are done submitting that grant application. Congratulations! Okay, now that you have successfully completed your first application within the Cape and Islands United Way online grants portal, and maybe you want to come back a couple days later and see what the status of your application is, or just double check it. So after you log in, remember you have a choice to select My Applications to show the status of any grants that might be in progress or have been submitted. So you'll see the My Applications tab in the red circle on the left-hand side. Moving down that page, you'll see that this particular applicant has submitted 3 grants in the past to the Cape and Islands United Way. Remember, the only current grant that's available is the letter of intent. The Community Impact Grant is available by invitation only after the successful and approved process of the letter of intent, and the Mobilizing Volunteers Microgrant Program is not available yet. Anyway, continuing with the example, this organization has 3 grants that they have submitted over the past several months. The first one, the Community Impact Grant, you'll see moving across left to right, you'll see the grant, and in blue means it's a hyperlink to take you back to the original information contained in that grant. There's a program name, you'll see the date submitted, and you'll see the deadline. The status of the Community Impact Grant is that it has been withdrawn, which is an option for you to do if you no longer wish to have that grant considered for funding. The final thing you can do on this page is you can generate a PDF. Maybe you want to have a PDF of it to send to other folks within your organization. Anything like that is available here. The next 2 things that next 2 applications this organization has submitted are the Letter of Intent and the Mobilizing Volunteers Microgrant Program. As you'll see, the Letter of Intent was submitted 9/11, well before the deadline, and the status is submitted. The third grant, Mobilizing Volunteers, was submitted in August and has no deadline currently listed. Its status is also submitted. The other way you'll get updates on status changes or on the status of your grant applications is via email. But remember, the only emails that will receive those updates are the ones that you have listed in the cover sheet of your letter of intent. Okay, just a couple quick reminders. You can cut and paste as you're completing your document. If you have other Word documents, you can cut and paste that into the web-based system. One of the things that is particularly helpful about the web-based system is that you can save information for future grants. So for example, if we have a grant where you need to list your board members, you can upload that as a PDF and save it for future grants. As we saw in previous screens, you can also print and share your grant information with others quickly and easily. And once again, you can receive feedback quickly and easily on the status of your grant applications, as well as other notifications. And finally, in closing, here are some resources and additional information. Just a quick notation that those applicants that will be invited to submit a full grant after the successful acceptance of a letter of intent, we'll also be submitting it through this online portal. You'll walk through the same process, although your option for grants available will be slightly different. Feedback is always welcome. We believe here at the Cape and Islands United Way of continuing to improve our process, and we can't do that without feedback from each of you. Another quick tip, please practice within the system, entering information, saving it all the way, saving part of applications before the deadline. You can always go back and change things before you do your final submission. But because technical assistance is me and not available 24/7, you'll want to make sure you have any of your questions answered before the actual deadline of the grant of October 20th at 11:59 p.m. So, again, technical assistance is me, and as well as technical assistance will be information is located within the grant system and then also on our United Way grants page. I look forward to reading any grant applications, and I hope you'll find that the system is as helpful as I think it will be. Thanks again for spending some time, and I really appreciate it.